joined by your coaches Gordon
and your coach Fred.
And it's going to be a great opportunity for all of you to improve in your public speaking. So happy to see so many of you here today. Now, the workshop theme, now if this is your first time, our workshop follow a specific theme month to month. So last month it was confidence and how to be more confident as a public speaker and when you're communicating with audiences. And for this month we're looking at defeating anxiety. Now, especially when it comes to public speaking, 70% of it is a mental battle. Sometimes we overthink. You're speaking to one person, it's perfectly fine. Once it's 10, 15 people, even today, for example, we tend to overthink, thinking the worst case scenario. But irrespective of the context, one thing I am sure and tell you will happen today is you feel a lot more comfortable on this stage. Picture of me, if I could say so myself. And I was born in London and I dealt with a lack of confidence and insecurity in the early parts of my life. I was a very socially awkward person, always looking at the floor, always overthinking, asking the right thing, the wrong thing. And a lot of time it never worked well for me. And with time I came to understand that it's okay to be nervous when it comes to public speaking. And even before starting today, my heart was racing. I was like, oh God, I'm nervous. But it always happens. And with experience, and by joining classes like this, I learned how to manage those nerves. And over time, I was able to become an effective communicator. And eventually, I started believing greatness with Fred as co-founders. I was able to secure a role in one of the largest investment banks. And if you told me this would be my life 3 years ago, I'd have said, you're lying. That's not possible.
You may not, my name is Frederick, you got to call me Fred. Co-founder alongside Gordon, and my story is a little bit different. I grew up in Milan, Italy, where I was the only kid of colour in my whole school and in my whole area, so that really affected my confidence growing up. Not having anyone that looked like me and never getting a Valentine's Day card ever. As an adult, I can laugh about it, but as a kid, it did burn a lot. Then I moved to London at 13 and I spoke no English whatsoever. So again, that was a new adventure. I was quite shy, reserved, and just decided to not really stand out. Eventually I got really pushed into athletics by my teacher and I started doing really well in athletics. Within 2 years I represented Italy, and 7 years after I started I signed my first pro contract. After signing pro I got loads of different opportunities which were good, one of which were going into schools. So school actually got in touch with me saying, look, we have a big budget for a speaker and we would like you to speak to our students about your sporting career. And I thought, this is amazing, I didn't know you could get paid from speaking. So I prepared a presentation and I practiced and practiced, but the closer I got to my presentation, the more anxious I got. 2 nights before the booking, I had a sleepless night, and I ended up sending a school an email saying, I can't do it, I got the flu. I lied. And that was my turning point because I realized I needed to do something about this. When I was young, I thought, when I grow up, I'll get confident. And I found myself as a grown-up, not confident. Then I started doing what you guys have done today, going to events like these, investing in my personal development. And 4 years on now, I have started believing greatness. I'm a public speaking coach and a keynote speaker. I didn't set out for any of this to happen. Still training full time, trying to make next year's Olympics. What I found though is that once I stopped burying my head under the sand, I started to improve a lot faster than the voices in my head told me that I would. And that's most likely going to happen to you today. So we are here to support you, and we're super excited to be hosting you guys today. So this is fake it till you make it. We're told to put on a mask, whereas we believe that being authentically you is a true sign of confidence. So then you may ask yourself, how do we get there? And you get there by reducing your fear of judgment. We found that the fear of public speaking isn't actually a fear of public speaking. It's more so a fear of public perception that stops you from doing the speaking. Because you can speak in front of your family and your friends just fine. But in another setting, maybe a work meeting, maybe an event like this where you don't know people, you may actually start to feel a lot more anxious, which is a fear of judgment. And how do you reduce the fear of judgment? By exposing yourself to that judgment. Just like anything, the more you do it, the better it gets. So this is an opportunity for you guys to actually expose yourself to that judgment. At some point, we're going to say, who wants to come to the front? a voice in your head is going to tell you, don't go. Don't go. I challenge you to show that voice in your head who's boss. Expose yourself to it, and I guarantee you it will get better. Okay? Amazing. So, you all have some post-it notes. What I want you to write down on your post-it note is at the beginning of the class. How confident do you feel about public speaking on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 being you don't feel confident at all. You hate it. Somewhere in the middle, if it depends on the context. If it depends on speaking to family, friends, 1, 2, 3, or 4. And if you're close to the green end, then lucky for some. Okay? So please write down at the beginning how you feel about public speaking. There are 3 pens that I would like to borrow.
Does anyone else need a pen?
You may be sharing pens.
Okay, sharing pens. We're going to click play, we're going to hear some music playing, and I would like you to just walk around as much as you can, okay? Once the music stops, I would like you to turn to the first person you see, that you catch eye contact with, and then start a conversation with them about absolutely anything. How your week has been so far, what you're looking to do on the weekend, maybe even your reasons for being here today. Okay? So the first person you see, then have a conversation. And I'll do a few rounds of this. So let's say, for example, the second round you find yourself looking at the same person, I'll find someone else to speak to. Okay? Is that clear to everyone?
Yeah.
Alright, let's get started. And if you would like to dance, please feel free. Okay?
We all have different versions of it, we all experience it in different ways. So Gordon and I will tell you about our experience with it and what works with us in overcoming it. I have found that with public speaking anxiety, I used to get really, really anxious because I used to catastrophize. I used to think of all of the worst possible things that are going to happen when I go and speak in front of people. And what I found is that usually, when I do the speaking, those things that I thought were going to happen didn't actually happen. Having done research, I've realized that the amygdala is a part of your brain that is responsive to fear. It's trying to protect you from danger. And for a lot of you, your brain perceives public speaking to be a dangerous thing. What I found worked for me is I actually have a name for my brain. I call my brain Brian. So what happens is that Brian will often tell me things, but I know Brian is exaggerating. Brian tells me not to run for the bus because everyone's going to be looking at me and it's going to be weird. But actually, no one cares. Brian tells me not to take opportunities, not to start businesses, and not to speak to important people. Differentiating myself and Brian has helped me fight that. Something I would encourage you to do, encourage you to try, is to try and do that. Try and differentiate yourself from your thoughts, because you are not your brain. And there's a difference between how you truly feel and your brain protecting you from danger.
I think for me, the mistake I used to make was recognize anxiety. I used to see it as a sign of trouble or indication I was going to do a bad job. But what I came to understand is that this is a normal human reaction, especially when you're going to do something that is important. So for me, just controlling my pace, taking my time, I really learned to be a lot more comfortable under pressure. And also, by reducing uncertainty, you reduce anxiety. So one way you can do this is by getting to know your audience. So with our previous activity, walking around the room, introducing yourself to new people, hopefully now you feel a lot more comfortable. So one thing I always do before I start is I introduce myself to the audience, ask them how they're doing, and rather than view public speaking as a performance, it's more of a conversation. So when you are authentic, you are yourself, it does get easier.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. At some point today, a number of people who have done our 4-week program are actually going to be delivering their final speeches. These are people that have joined the program because they felt like they wanted to improve their public speaking, are incredibly anxious. So a lot of them are going to support them. A lot of them are actually quite nervous, and they're going to do really, really, really well. For 30 seconds, and then we're going to get some brave people to come to the front and share their relationship with public speaking to everyone. So, find your pair.
And then get started.
Get started.
Anyone feeling confident, I'd like to come to the front and share.
We are. I dropped a minute.
Okay. We'll set a timer. You both have 30 seconds. Okay.
Cool.
And your time starts now.
So I was always quite confident looking kid, but when I was in high school we had to do speeches in our English class, and I was considered the safe bet. So all the other kids were really nervous, so the teacher picked on me. So I went up happy as Larry, and then when it came to actually doing my speech, I think I blanked out halfway through, and it was super cringe. And then I went and sat back down, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to do that again. So that probably left me with a bit of anxiety around public speaking. And generally I do feel like a good confident speaker, but I think I just want to feel more relaxed in myself and not feel like I have to act and stuff.
Sahar, yeah, is that am I pronouncing it correctly?
Sahar.
Sahar, she's like a true professional speaker. So I'm just pure anxiety. So my main reason was to really come here to get over some anxiety fears I had when I was younger. Haven't really resurfaced until recently at work, where I've had to be told that I'm going to do some speaking in front of a group of unknown people. So just, my reason for being here is just to kind of overcome that element of it. So yeah.
Round of applause! Thank you, take a seat.
So I used to have confidence, but then my health situation got worse. So I had heart problems for 3 years, and essentially this year I'm kind of getting back to being confident. The reason why I'm here is last week I had like a business investor meeting because I'm a music manager and I fumbled. So I start stuttering and essentially the words just start coming out of my head. And that's it.
So with myself, I'm in property, and I went to a course, and our group was there, and then they told us, show up your deal to the front. So my friend next to me, standing on his chair, putting his hand up, and they're like, nah, now our whole group has to go up there. So I go up there, and then my heart just starts beating fast, and I just feel very scared. And then I spoke about the deal and things like that, but I just felt like I want to kind of overcome that, because I know I'm going to have to speak a lot more in front of people, and I'm going to have to put myself out there. And if you're trying to get into property, reach out.
Alright. Let's go. Got this. Okay.
Okay, time starts now.
Hi, my name is Remy. Apparently, happens to be from Nigeria like me. So when we got talking, got to realize that his main aim of public speaking is to be able to use it during project events in his school. For me, it's more a bit to take it professionally. I do plan to take it professionally. I also do believe that it's going to help me out in every other aspect of my life. But the major aim for me is to be able to take it professionally. Personally, I don't have a problem talking. I can talk.
My name is Casey, so I was not going to come up here, but obviously you chose to go up here. I came today because I came to this first time to this session and I liked it. Before that, I might as well come to that as well to do my public speaking. And I had struggles since I was young because I grew up in Italy and my childhood was kind of difficult. I was kind of like timid, shy because I didn't want to get people offended and so many other things. And then coming here to this country 9 years ago, I couldn't speak English, not like you guys speak English, but now it's how I can speak it. When I spoke here, I came with an accent. So I used to be scared of joking on people, or people.
Round of
Amazing, cool. So we're all here for very similar reasons, okay? We do it on purpose. So you can see that you are not the only person going through this. So many people go through this. You guys are actually the brave ones who have come to actually improve it, and you will. The important thing to understand is that public speaking is a journey. And I'd actually like to invite Sandeep, and he's got a speech called Public Speaking is a Journey. Let's give it a big round of applause.
I can't believe this is happening. I'm Sandeep. I still meet all of you. So I'm going to talk about public speaking as a journey. Confidence zone, 3-step movements, and nice and easy. These were some of the tips that we received in our public speaking course. Easy enough, you might think, but not so much for someone who's not a natural on stage. Although I've done technical presentations in the past, I'm in tech, and I've had to do them in the past. I've never actually looked forward to them. Initially, when I started doing them early in my career, I had a couple of panic attacks, and that sort of left a mark. So I tried to avoid them, whenever I could. I even convinced myself that I don't need the stage. But deep within, I knew I had to be on the stage to be able to express my views, to be able to spread my ideas, to be able to test my knowledge. Because stage is where you have to be if you want to be heard and if you want to be taken seriously. So after a great deal of self-talk, I decided to pursue public speaking a bit more formally. I knew I was going to mess up a few times. I knew I was not going to get it right every time. But I decided that's a chance worth taking. So I took the plunge and I enrolled for the public speaking course. I learned the techniques, three-step movements. I gave up on it. Eye contact, that was the toughest one. I couldn't find the words a few times. I just lost my thoughts a few times. But then I was in the company of this amazing cohort. They were hesitant just like me to start with. But with a bit of guidance, they made it seem like they were born to speak. They were confident, they were charming, they had amazing control over the speech. And for me, that was inspiring. I knew I was in the right place among the right people, all there for the same purpose. So with time, I grew in confidence too. I even did a couple of impromptu speeches, far exceeded my expectations. And by the end of it, I realized it was more fun than scary. So here I am, doing my final speech in front of you amazing people. Most of you I've never seen before. And it feels great. So I would encourage everyone to give it a go. Thank you.
Apart from forgetting to change the slides, you did really well. And yes, and even someone who came to us, anxious and nervous, he always forgot his words. So for him to deliver that, very, very proud of him. Let's give him another round of applause.
Honestly, well done. So we're going to move on to our next activity. So you're going to be impaired for all of you to be conscious in your communication. One of you mentioned when you came to the front, sometimes when you're speaking to people, because of the nerves, your mind just goes blank. You don't know what you're meant to be talking about. Or you ask a question, you know the answer, but in that moment, the words can't come out. So with this activity, what's important, and my tip for success for all of you, is pace. Taking your time, okay? And if you're unsure of what your partner said, ask them. Can you just repeat that for me? I just need a reminder, okay? Be comfortable. All right, guys, in pairs, we're going to start repeating in a second. If you don't have a partner, please let me know. Everyone find your partner. It's your favorite food. Is that, did everyone hear that? Your topic is your favorite food. When you're ready, get started.
We're going to join some of the pairs, so you're going to end up being in groups of maybe 4 or 5. One person will be in the fire at a time. All the other ones, what you have to do is you have to think of questions you're going to ask the person. For 1 minute straight, you're going to fire questions at them. Random questions. What's your favorite food? What's your favorite car? What's your favorite holiday? And they're going to be under pressure having to answer all of these questions. The idea is that we heighten the pressure that you feel so that you can reduce the anxiety that you feel under pressure. So if you can please stand up and join some of the pairs. So
Organize yourself. Groups of 5. Once you have your pair, find some space in the room.
Okay, the side is going to go first.
And then go into the middle, okay?
The side is going to go first. Everyone else got any questions?
Everyone stand up while we're doing it, please. Everyone standing.
Okay, so the side is going to go first and the files. The rest of you can ask the person questions for 1 minute straight. Okay. First round of fire starts now. 10 more seconds. Put them under pressure. Put them under pressure. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Next It might be this or that, so you choose what you would choose, and you have to explain it. Okay, you have 45 seconds to do so. Who is going to go first?
Just raise your hand.
That's a random question. Let's give a round of applause.
Story time. I was a very optimistic child, doing well in school. Obviously, easily distracted, the same old stuff, but in terms of grades were well. Fast forward to 2005, I had an unfortunate family event happen. My mum passed away. And I was asking myself, before I had to write this speech, how did it affect me? It affected me as I lost my optimism towards life. I could have been a bit optimistic in regards to things I want to achieve in life and everything else, and I wasn't optimistic. So I'm making a step personally to change all these things. And I thought, how can someone become more optimistic? So I thought of a practical way to do it. Optimism. Hopefulness and confidence about the future and the success of something. The word optimism is derived from the Latin word optimum, meaning the most conducive to a favourable outcome, best. Cool. You want to get some stats? Optimistic people live longer. Hands up who wants to have a long life. Love that. We see Grandad over there. Round of applause for Grandad. Hands up who wants to be more successful at work. Love that. Optimistic people are more successful at work. Optimists are 40% more likely to get a promotion over the next year, and 6 times more likely to be 6 times more likely to be highly engaged at work. They are also 5 times less likely to burn out than pessimists. Cool. So, in sitting down, I thought of the ABC method to have a positive mindset. A, attitude. A settled way of thinking or feeling about something. We can choose how we think or feel. So why not choose that which is most optimal? B, belief. An acceptance of something. An acceptance that something exists or is true, especially one without proof. Trust, faith, or confidence in something. We were speaking about confidence earlier. Confidence is derived from the Latin word confidere, which means to have full trust in oneself. Do you believe in yourself? Do you have confidence in yourself? Do you have hands up where if you complete the tasks? Why do you think that is? Anyone? Anyone can answer that?
I get lazy halfway. We think the task is too big, so we put it off.
If you have more confidence in your ability to complete the task, do you think you'll get more done? Yeah. That's it. Choice. An act of choosing between 2 or more possibilities. When people say they never have a choice, that is not true. There's always 1 or 2 possibilities, but because of their poor attitude, they limit their choices. A Am I choosing that which is most optimal? And the last, finally, D, decision. A conclusion or resolution reached after consideration. How can you make better decisions? Is this decision the best decision I can make based on the choices that I have? The moral of the story, if you want to have a more positive mindset, think A, B, C, D, and it is a practical and pragmatic method that everyone can use. These are my thoughts on positive mindset. Let me know what you think.
Well done. Honestly, to see the progress he's made over the last 4 weeks is astonishing. And to come up and speak in front of 30 odd people, you should be proud of yourself. Well done. So we're going to move on and touch on.
My dad told me, he said, get something in your head today. And I was like, Leeds, because I lived in Leeds. And then the guy was like, oh, who's your favourite player? And I was like, what do I do? So, football for me is not a good topic. But what I found is that anytime anyone tries to talk to me about football, I'm like, yeah, but I saw this game actually in Lisbon. Have you ever been to Lisbon? And then we'll talk about travel. And then we can so now my mind's just like, how do I get this weird?
3, 2, 1, go!
I would say that we are actually able to save a lot better than men, I think. However, I would like to speak from my own experience. I'm not great at handling my finances. I did save a lot, but then as I've progressed in my career, sometimes I look at the things I do and think, why can't I spend my own money? So my savings have declined significantly. I would like to think between my mother and my father, I'd say my mum is better at money management. My dad has an Audi TT. My mum doesn't. She has a Kia. So I think women are more sensible when it comes to finances, but not all of them. I'm thinking about myself.
Go!
Countries. I find it amazing that countries exist. Everyone's from different demographics, and I love that certain countries you would understand, not stereotyping them, but more of where their culture is from or what they experience. Then you can understand the type of person as well. Countries. I would say the best country so far culturally that I've seen, just from my experience, was from Japan, and I enjoyed it.
I think that's a good comparison there. I think when they came onto the market, it brought a different range of food and quality and affordability for consumers. I think perhaps what I do like about the
You got this, take your time, deep breath, let's go.
Take your time.
What I do like about shopping in these supermarkets is that you have a different range of products there, and you learn about different.
To take vitamin D because I receive the sun take out everything. So whenever I'm here, I need to take that as well.
I think the title was Men in Black.
The aliens, I'm strongly convinced they actually exist amongst us. You cannot really disprove their presence between us. Some people believe there are even reptilians. Rectal line.
I know people who are into property. I know Kirk, who is in my cohort doing a course with these guys who's into property, and I learned a lot about how to get rid of a wasp's nest and about tree removal, because he was practicing his speech about selling his property in Leeds? Leicester, yeah. So
there are lots of beautiful things and lots of things to cherish. It's always good to try and stay optimistic and positive about things, but obviously there are things and there's obstacles that can obviously get in the way of that. Life and death. I have a 9-year-old daughter, and I'm currently sort of helping her through her journey. And I fucking ran out of shit to say.
So I've been wondering pretty recently why we all gathered here. Like, what's the point of being here? Because, like, equally well, we could have stayed at our homes, we could have watched telly, play some video games, maybe watch cat videos, or play with the actual cats, or sleep with dogs. But like, out of all those things, we decided to actually be here. That's what he said. But like, on a more serious note, like, who here actually works 9 to 5? That's a decent amount of people, decent percentage. Like, do you feel you're really connected with people at work when you're doing the job? No. Yes? A couple of yeses, maybe? So, like, it probably is not going to come to you as a surprise in London. There are big problems regarding mental health. In general, mental health is on a decline. It's not just London, it's the entire UK, but London, like you can see, it's particularly bad. And like, when you think about it, just 1 out of 3 Londoners meets up with another human being, their friend or family member, once a week or less. Once a week. Is it really that much? Once a week. It's just ridiculous. 1 out of 3. So let me also share a story with you. So I've been on a Klettersteig, which was a couple of months ago. Do you know what Klettersteig is? No. So it's essentially mountain climbing. It's like this. That's somewhere around there. So we use a steel cable to actually clip ourselves in. So we use a couple of clips attached to our harness. So basically, unclip one, clip in, move, clip in. So you always clip. So it was like halfway through the mountain in Alps. It was a very big mountain, a really big one. I was at that I was with a group of friends, and I felt like, oh, let's look at the friend, how my friend is doing. And he was literally hanging like this, T-posing, on a singular clip. And it really like got me thinking, like, why would you do this? It's stupid. Does he want to die? So it really bugged me for a while. So like, we left the area, and I've asked him, like, we had a conversation. It wasn't really fully conclusive, but what I've learned from that conversation was that the perception of danger is not the danger itself. So even though I'm here, like this harness, it can sustain 2 tons of weight. 2 tons. And yet, there is so much resistance to actually trust it. So I sort of figured out that communities are our harness. They allow us to do stupid things, to actually go for it. Well, you are my harness at this point. I'm trying different things with you. Maybe they work, maybe I fail, but still, I feel like dying at this point. I hope not to die. Yeah, exactly. But that being said, like, when is the next time you are going to step outside of your comfort zone? Thank you.
Hello everyone, how's everyone doing today?
Really well, good.
Just giving away my little thing I was going to do, but anyway. So, it's a famous quote here. Does everyone know this quote?
Yes.
No? No one knows this quote? It's a real quote, so yeah. Do we know who actually said it? Famously said it?
No.
George Gandhi, yeah? George? Possibly. There's been many iterations of it in the past, but like my colleague says, Winston Churchill in 1948. It was just after the World War II. They had won World War II. Now they're the superpower. They can decide now the history by rewriting it. So, just for example, at school, everyone. Do you remember doing maybe Greek Empire, studying Greek Empire?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And what about the Roman Empire?
Yes.
And what about the Industrial Revolution?
Yes.
And then we have the Information Age. So we remember all these things. But there's this large area here, the white area. What actually happened there? That's a large chunk of history that is missing. It was actually, for this very reason, it was a deliberate attempt to hide the information of what the Islamic civilization has actually achieved and given to the world. And during its Islamic decline, was from 1750 onwards, was where the decline happened. And from that time was when a lot of things were getting taken and plagiarized. For example, we have this from a NASA article. Just an example is the history of flight. They say that the first man to actually, was the first man to fly, was actually George Cayley at 1804. When in fact it was nearly 1,000 years before, in 875, by a person called Abbas ibn Farnas. And what you can do, you can actually find a lot of these ideas and things that they have invented or discovered. It's been unanimously agreed by the academics, the professors, that everything in that book is legitimate. Anything that was just one person disagreed with, they removed it. So that was me just giving an idea of how they changed history to suit themselves. Thank you for listening.
Feel in this very moment. So I don't want you to speak in past tense, what you did earlier in the week, or what you intend to do after today's workshop, but how you feel in this very moment, speaking to all these lovely people. Now, what I don't want you to do is to say, I'm so confident. Clearly, you're not. I will stop the time and you'll start again. I want you to be honest, authentic. If you are nervous, explore that with us. And over time, it will become easier. So you're going to speak about how you feel in this very moment for 45 seconds. Okay?
Okay, you ready? The time
starts
now.
Okay, so basically I have a really, like my heartbeat is increased a lot, and obviously like I don't know like many of you guys and
about my heart is kind of like palpitating quite a bit. My voice is trembling and a little bit nervous, but I feel like it's more my rather than like my actual mind. But I actually feel alright. I feel quite comfortable because people feel quite nice.
Honestly, be confident and just like go into detail about it. But like every time I'm asked to present in a room of many people, I just start shaking and I just feel so anxious and my heart gets
here trying to speak in public. And the first time that I spoke in public was at school in Spanish, which is my first language, and I used to learn English probably roughly less than 4 years ago. I'm just feeling like right now I'm just going to say things such as the first time that I spoke in public last March at my university, saying like, oh, one of my duties at my workplace is basically cleaning the dog pee. I was too nervous about it at that moment, and as I said, I always felt.
And I felt as the more I was speaking, the more nervous I got. So I'm trying to focus on my pace, my breathing, articulation, the room, all the faces.
I am really nervous. You probably could tell from my voice that's struggling. My heartbeat is racing, my hands are all clapping, but I am here and I do want to face my public fear, talking to people, and I know that obviously you're all in the same boat, which really helps. And I don't know what else to say.
How do you feel? How do you feel right now? What's happening in your body? How's your heart?
Like I said, I feel very nervous. My hands are a bit clammy. My heart's racing. But like I said, I'm trying to get over it. People say when I'm at work, everybody says I come across as really confident, you know what I'm saying and everything. But I've never done.
One, it wasn't the greatest scene never seen. So this is Paul's public speaking take 2. So we're going to have another attempt at it. So my subject, failure. So I don't know if any of you guys have been through anything that's, failure in your life, whether that's a like knocked over this. You know, like a relationship or a business thing. You know, like I don't know. Anyone gone through failure? Or none of you? Fantastic. So, why do we fail? This is, I thought, my question of today, and a question I think we all ask, and how we think we might overcome it. So, this is Paul Murphy. That's me. This is public speaking number 1. I froze. I felt like I was the jester. I overcomplicated pretty much everything. I thought through everything. I had my whole speech on my iPhone. I've done emojis, everything, and I just froze massively bad. But what I tried to do afterwards, because what I admitted to Frederick was something happened on my phone, and it was this guy. Just as I'm about to do my speech, I'm trying to learn German. This fella pops up on my phone, and the speech is on my phone. I flick it, it goes, I'm staring, I've had a meltdown. Absolute meltdown. So, who did I try and blame? First of all, I've gone straight up to Frederick, and I think because someone else was there at the time. And I said to them, you know, this happened on the phone, blah, 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 blah. Just tried to find my way out of blame. Who am I going to blame? So, I wanted to talk about a few other things. Just, obviously, my topic is failure. So, I'd just like to talk to you. This was a business I set up in 2005. So, a friend of mine come to me. I've got this brilliant idea. Fantastic. Going to make us millions. Okay, what is it? You know, you're typical. You've got that friend. You roll with it, right? He says, I've got this thing. Spray tanning. Spray tanning. Never heard of it. Yeah, you get this spray, you put it on yourself. No more sunbeds. Not needed, like whatsoever. Okay, how much is it going to cost? Well, it's on in America. You can get this piece of equipment, and it's going to cost you $500. So I said, okay, great. $500. I can roll with that, right? Oh, but we need a shop. This is my shop here, by the way. Body Express. And it's going to have a deposit for a landlord, and all this kind of things. £5,000 late from my parents. We've got the shop. Anyway, we got the shop. We tried our best, and you know, it just didn't work out. It lasted from 2005 to 2006. Did anyone want spray tanning? Absolutely not. There was nobody interested. Stupidest idea on the planet. Didn't think it was going to work. We didn't get anyone. So at the time we were told we should have gone with sunbeds, but you know, we didn't. So what happens a few years later? These guys, 2010, rolls up, only weighs Essex. I'm sure, I don't know if you guys know Joey Essex. Everyone in the whole country is having a spray tan. Spray tans all round. So this is my little quote here. So just one of the things is, you know, I set up a business, it failed. Something happened, you know, was it bad timing? Did I fail, or was it just like terrible timing? So attempt number 2. Paul sets up his business, GPS Waste Management. This is me, this is my truck, this is my mattresses. So, you know, I've had another attempt. You know, I failed the first time around, but I didn't want to quite give up. You know, I thought I've got to go back and try it again. So, I asked the question again, why do we fail? You know, what's the whole purpose? You know, why do we fail? I think we fail in order for us to learn. One of my things is gone. Oh, one of my slides is missing. Shit!
Keep going, don't worry. Yeah, no, it's fine. The slide was about the successes, right?
Yeah.
Business. So talk about the business successes.
Okay, so this would be so easy to blame this now, but I can't.
Yes.
So our business now has been running 17 years.
Yes.
So we've actually. You take this out further. So I've had a business now for 17 years. GPS facilities. We run nationwide. We work with schools, social workers, and local authority. Really big business. We're doing really well. And if I didn't try again, if I didn't have that second attempt, and didn't, you know, take my chance with failure, you know, I would have never just, you know, gone on to what we've done now, and you know, just I've done really well. So, but what I would say, I also failed really badly in my first attempt at public speaking. So this is my redemption to an extent. So,
well done!
Transformation today, and I will say that the speeches that have come before have been extremely high standards, so well done. And I've got a confession to make because Fred asked me for my slides. He said, "Oh, can you get my slides before midday today?" There were no slides. So frantically at 4 o'clock this afternoon, there is now slides. So I may have to refer to them. So who am I? So my name's Dan. I have a business as well, and it's called Frame Solutions. And I'm going to talk about digital transformation today, which is quite a boring topic for most, but I'm actually quite passionate about it. I really geek out on this stuff. I spend a lot of time studying it, and why it works, and what's actually involved with it. So I used to be a chartered surveyor. I packed that in, I packed corporate life in, started a startup company. We've been running 4 years now, and now I just guide companies through their digital transformation. So I quit my job. My missus was like, "Why are you quitting your job?" And I said, "To make it better." That was my quote. So I don't think I'm going to win any prizes for that. But Mark Benioff, does anyone know who he is? He runs Salesforce, he's one of the biggest entrepreneurs going. He said, "You need to get to the future ahead of your customers and be ready to greet them when they arrive." So he's trying to predict the future and then bring them into it. So he said it a lot better than I did. Do you want to see the slide? Do you want to take a photo?
Yes, please.
Go for it, go for it.
Thanks, mate.
That's alright, no dramas. So what is digital transformation? So we all used to work on pen and paper and stuff, right? And all of a sudden this computer come along and everything sort of changed, right? So there's a couple of stages that go into this. And this is what sort of intrigues me, is how did we get to where we are now? We'll talk about AI now, right? This big thing that's going to happen, it's all going to take over the world. But there was a period where this actually got built up to where we are now. So we went to digitisation, so we were all using pen and paper, and we decided that we were all going to put it on a computer. So all our paper records that we were doing was taking ages. If someone, on the stock exchange, for instance, wanted to buy a stock or something, it used to take days or weeks. Now it's instant, right? It's like a millisecond. So we went through that stage. But then we started to get to digital transformation, and that's a little bit different to digitisation, because digitisation is basically what we were doing before, but just quicker. So now, it's transformed the way that we're interacting with digital. So, who has a banking app? Who uses their banking app? Who waits for their statement to come through each month and doesn't have a banking app? No one, right? That's dead. No one does that anymore. So, what we've done there, we've seen banks basically use digitalisation to help end customers get what they want. We don't want to wait a month to see what we've got in our bank account. So why do companies bother with this, right? Digital transformation is actually quite hard. It actually works at a company where they've introduced a new software. And what's your first thought when they say, "I've got this new software"? Any others?
I hope it works.
Yeah, hope it works. Like, why are we doing this? It was fine before, right? So only 30% of companies actually get through that transition. Most of them get binned off. And as I've gone through my career, there's 3 things that have basically picked up the biggest obstacles are. Resistance to change. So there's always going to be old Johnny in the corner who's got his calculator or his Excel, he ain't going to want to change, right? Lack of digital savvy executives. So who here has done a PDF for their boss? Like, I don't know why bosses are obsessed with getting PDFs, right? They just don't know how to do it. I don't know what it is with that, right? And then a lack of organisational change management. So how this stuff's actually going to get rolled out, people just spend loads of money on it and just expect it to work. So I had a look at some reports from McKinsey. So they're a company that do business strategy and the like. And I found out that basically that senior managers and managers have to tell the story. So they have to tell the story of why we're actually doing this stuff. Because there's an emotional attachment to it, right? People actually think, "Oh, tech, it just makes it quicker." But there's a story behind it, and if the story isn't told, people can't buy into it. So there's a couple of things that happen, right? So there's the board side of it, right? But who actually cares about any of that? Do you care about that in your room, in this room? Does anyone care about how well the CEO does or the boss does?
No.
No? So when you're talking to people, why do you talk about this stuff? You talk about what's actually in it for them, right? So, who wants to sit in front of an Excel and put data in for 5 days straight? No one wants to do that, right? People would rather have a productivity boost where they can get this stuff done in 4 hours and go to the pub. And that's what they want to do. So, talking the language of the end user, the people that actually drive digital transformation and drive and use the software, I feel is more important than talking to CEOs. So my approach started from a bottom up, so I started going towards the end consumer at the bottom and actually giving them benefit rather than the guys at the top. Because we've seen that 30% of it fails, that's quite a high failure rate. Sorry, 70% of it fails. And then I introduced a strategy of how we're going to get there. And then when I was going through it, I said, well, why do we have to do the whole organisation? Why can't we just do a subset? So if I can prove it with 5 people, then I've proved it with 5. That's not a big risk for them, right? They don't have to do it with 100 people, so it's easier. So this was a very painful experience going through all of this. A lot of failures, got a lot of it wrong a lot, and eventually come out with that. And, you know, with digital strategy and digital transformation, I find it quite intriguing that there's a huge emotional side in it that's normally not accounted for. So I just thought I'd share a little bit of insight into that, and that's my story.
Amazing. So that is another one who has done one of our programs. Did you do our August one? Yeah. So he was on our August one, and he has now done his final speech. So different people that have spoken today are in different cohorts.
The confidence to speak in front of a crowd. This is a dream that I've had for a long time. I think
Starts now.
I have a dream to quit the day job and start working for myself.
Yes.
And I'd like to help people recover from burnout. And I'd like to do that by introducing mindfulness techniques and also by using creativity as a tool to help them to get through it. And it can also help people dealing with other issues like